Hey, what's up, champions? Welcome to Growth Mode. I'm your host, Donnie Bovine, the CEO and founder of Success Champions, and I've spent years in the sales and business development game, learning how to sell better and how to scale and grow my business. Hanging out with me is my buddy, as always, Kevin Snow, the sales and automation tactician. This guy is a flat out genius when it comes to doing all the sales, automation, everything you need for your company. On this show, man, we talk all about how to sell, business development, how to grow and scale your business so you can get to that level of business freedom you always wanted to get to. Kevin, on this episode, what the fuck are we talking about?
Hey Donnie, hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about something that you and I experience on a regular basis. We always have people coming into our world trying to sell us stuff, get us to spend money with them, and a lot of them have a complete inability to shut up during the sales call and actually listen to what we're saying.
Yeah, dude, this is so funny. If anybody's ever tried to sell our company anything, Kevin will tell you. Um, Odds are I'm sending Kevin a DM making fun of the person selling to me, and mainly because they won't shut the hell up, and they are just droning on and on and on about absolute nonsense and things that are irrelevant for trying to get a deal done. And I think this is a phenomenon for a lot of people.
We just had this last week. We know every job that one of the people that wanted to work with us ever had and why he left those positions. And I was like, this is not helping us put together a partnership at all.
Yeah, it was so funny. I mean, and the person that introduced us to us, they were even like, "Holy hell, is this person gonna ever shut up?" And look, I get it. As salespeople, as business owners, we're proud of our shit. I mean, we're proud of what we've accomplished and done, but it's irrelevant to the conversation at hand. It's like going to a BNI style meeting and listening to people do their 10 minutes presentation, and they drone on about the fucking history of the company and the milestones and shit that nobody gives a rat's ass about. You know, so for me, diving into shut up and freaking listen is to give you some tactics so you can and actually learn what to say on a sales call and how to actually have a real conversation.
So I think the first thing that salespeople or business owners need to remember when they're in a sales call is that the sales call is not all about you.
Yeah, no shit.
You are not the focus of the meeting. And granted, I know you all love to hear your voices. That's the way you are. At least most of you salespeople are. But for your your divas, got it. The
Your C's,
the
your robots, got it.
hey, this is why we outsell you because we know how to listen.
Here we go again with this outselling shit. Never gonna happen, brother.
But anyway, back to my point is that especially that first sales call where you're just meeting the prospect, it has to be all about them. And it has to be getting their story and figuring out what's going on in their world and not just assuming because you've sold 25 other companies like theirs, you know what's happening.
Well, and I think, you have to go into a sales call and be just the most curious motherfucker in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're talking, odds are that prospect isn't fucking listening. Right? I mean, if the point of me telling y'all that I'm sending Kevin private messages and everything else, and Kevin see me do it, I'll just take over the sales call. I'll just butt in right in the middle of their conversation and go, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. What can you guys do? And the problem is if your mouth is flapping and you're running your gums, doesn't matter who you're selling to. They don't give a shit. It's supposed to be a conversation, not a one-sided freaking pitch. And I'll go back to when I first got into sales. When I got into sales, nobody taught me how to be a sales guy. So I was watching videos, I was reading books, I was doing everything to learn how to be a sales guy. I literally made a 3-ring binder with pictures and handouts and walkthroughs. I printed out a PowerPoint presentation to take with me on sales calls. And I would flip through each one, and it didn't matter, every sales call, because this is what I thought how you sold, is I would flip through every fucking stage of this, presentation. And then I would sit there like a fucking idiot at the end and do the silent close. Because in my head, whoever spoke first, loses, which is such the stupidest thing on the face of the earth. So what I never did in those early days was actually figure out, one, did they have a need for what I sold? Two, did they want it? Why did they want it? Or anything relevant to what the hell I was selling. So I would go through all of this stuff, and most times they'd be like, all right, thanks. Great presentation. Appreciate you. And then nothing would ever come of it. And I would go back, and, I didn't have a sales manager, so I was figuring this all out on my own. And I'm like, why is nobody saying yes? I put all this work, I put all this time into it. I do this great presentation. I show them how awesome of a fucking company we are, and nobody's saying yes. I'd say yes to this until the day I realized I wouldn't sit through the fucking thing. There is no way I would let somebody get through that entire fucking presentation and walk me through the entire process. I would shut it down at some point and go, what the fuck are you selling?
The best day in my sales career was the day I threw out my pitch book.
Right.
Because that was back in the 90s. That was how they trained corporate salespeople to sell. You'd go to the sales training and you'd get a pitch deck. 3-ring binder with lots of cool pictures that they spent lots of money to have some designer design for you, and they teach you how to go through and flip through the book and sell. And that was your sales presentation when you went out to clients, and that was utter trash. Because it was basically making assumptions that you already knew everything there was to know about the client, and it left no opportunities for you to ask questions that actually revealed why they should buy your product.
So, yeah, I love this. Tactic number 1 for how to shut up on a sales call is to take fucking nothing with you to the sales call. Because whatever you take with you, you're going to use as a fucking crutch at some point. I don't even take pens, paper, nothing. If I need to write something down and I'm face to face with somebody, I'm going to borrow a piece of paper and a pen from them. Because whatever you take in, you're going to fucking use. And I know all my IT people and all my fucking uber geeks' heads are fucking exploding right now. But the truth is, whatever you take is going to be a fucking crutch. You need to go in there like fucking Sherlock Holmes. And go in and you're looking for the clues. You're looking for why the fuck you're even sitting in that room. Right? And really going in to try and diagnose where their company is, where they're trying to get to, and can your shit actually fit into their world.
I want to hear about how you do questioning. Because when I got rid of the pitch deck, I figured out how to do the questioning piece that worked really well for me. And I start really broad and ask about company thing, general company stuff. Hey, how many locations do you have? Employees, that. And I keep working down and get more granular and get into content that's more protected, so to speak. My end questions are all tend to be revenue based, finance based, stuff that you aren't going to share with people the first time that, if I come in and say, all right, so how much revenue is your company generating? Probably not going to answer that question.
Yeah.
So that's always been my technique, is start broad and work down through operational and into that financial piece at the end to get to get my information? How do you
Yeah,
do
no,
the
I
questioning
always
piece?
always reference how we got to the meeting. So for my first move is always, so hey, we met on LinkedIn. I got to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about your world. I didn't do a lot of background and research. So why don't we start here? Why don't you tell me a little bit about your world? I'll tell you a little bit about mine, and we'll see what turns up, which is a fascinating move. If they're a high C, they're pissed because it looks like I didn't do my work. If they're a high D, they're like, fuck, this is a waste of a conversation. If they're a high I, they're gonna immediately like, okay, cool, let's do this. And if they're an S, they're gonna oblige. So it's a quick move for me to figure out, okay, where's the conversation fixing to go? And a high D is gonna be like, well, you should have looked that shit up on the internet, right? And now I know what kind of conversation I'm fixing to get into, which means it's very high level and we're going for the bottom line. If it's a high C type person, they're going to come in very technical in nature. They're going to give you nothing but the facts of the company. We were founded in 1985, and it's all going to be business. So for me, it's then understanding why I'm sitting there in the first place. And so I'll always compliment where they've been. And it's been, hey, Kevin, you've done some amazing things. You've built an amazing company. You've done some awesome stuff. So help me understand why I'm sitting here today. And that's my first move, really, to get into a meeting because that's going to open Pandora's box of problems, of issues. Um, the funniest response, though, is when the high D looks at you and goes, fuck if I know. You wanted to have a meeting. What are we talking about? Well, cool. Maybe I start here, tell you a little bit about what we do, and then you tell me where we either continue the conversation or you tell me to get the fuck out. You good with that? And they're always good with that. Moving forward. We got 2 minutes.
So, how do we keep the conversation moving?
So for me, it's staying tremendously curious, right? Staying on the backside and always ask questions. And so what I guarantee we're going to do on the next episode is we're going to walk through, a lot of the questions you should be asking and really diving into each and every one of those questions, kind of walk you through an entire sales call so you can uncover all the things that you need to uncover to ask a real thing. But I'll tell you, if you look at that prospect as like you're Sherlock Holmes trying to solve a case, or like you're a doctor trying to diagnose a problem with a company or a problem with a patient, if you go into that conversation that way, you can't help but to get extremely curious and want to know more. So on the next episode, we'll dive into the details behind all those questions, how they work, and what you should be doing specifically to set up and dive deep into those sales conversations. And as always, guys, if you got anything out of this episode, do us a favor and teach somebody how to listen and subscribe. That would mean everything to us. Those subscriptions are literally like you walked up and gave us a virtual hug. So thank you guys as always. Keep rocking and rolling, and we'll see you next time.